Hey y'all, it's Kate from LoveStory, and today is Monday, October 12th. Happy Monday, everyone. Just checking in on my reading for the reading vlog this week. Today's reading quote from my reading history comes from a book that a book I read accidentally trying to track down another book that one of my professors had talked about in one of my MFA classes. And so the book that I accidentally came upon is called Garlic, an Edible Biography, and it was such a fun book, all about garlic, which I absolutely love. You can't have enough garlic, in my opinion. And so the quote says, "Garlic has been credited with powers of both good and evil throughout history," and you can definitely see that in history books and history movies, documentaries, literature. People love and hate garlic so much. It's everywhere. I love it, and I love this quote because it's so telling of garlic. But anyways, that's the reading quote for today, read in 2017 by yours truly. Excuse me. And that comes from, like I said, the book called Garlic, an Edible Biography. Now to my reading. So I don't have a lot to really update on like you've seen last week. I'm reading a lot of very long books, so hopefully maybe I'll get through at least one or two of them this week. It's a crazy time right now between work, and I've got a lot of school projects due for library school, even though I'm only taking one class. And I've got a lot of big books, so it's a busy time of the year, a busy time of the semester for me, so we'll see how much I can get through this week. But I am making my way still through The Bleak House by Charles Dickens. Yesterday I started Sometimes a Great Notion by Kesey, author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I just have a couple thoughts about this so far. I'm only 30 pages in, so very, very, very early in a long 500, almost 600 page book. But so one of the things that I have to do with this book, because it's not in the normal format, it doesn't really have chapters per se. It's more like parts or big chunks. So I'm doing kind of 10 pages at a time for right now, and that might change as I get a little further into the book, but that's how I'm reading this book so far. And a couple thoughts so far on how it's written. The writing style is a little bit confusing because the writer, Kesey, uses italics in different ways than what I'm used to. Usually italics are something that you're supposed to pay attention to, or thoughts of a character or the narrator, but he uses them like everywhere, and so I'm not really sure what the purpose of the italics are yet. I'm hoping that maybe it'll come clear as I get further into the book. And the other thought I had is, so far in these 30 pages, the one big thing that I've noticed is that scenery and place are really important in here. So it takes place on the Oregon coast in the US, and so far the scenery is kind of like the main character. Even though we have the main character as the Danforth family, we have characters in the book. Scenery takes place more than the characters do, if that makes sense. So I'm interested to see how this develops and where our characters come into play, really. Let's see, continuing through with Where the Crawdads Dancing, and last week I was like, oh, so Kaya and her dad had a bonding moment. Now they're even closer than they used to be, and he's maybe not so much a big abusive jerk. But then he goes and leaves her at like 10 years old, and I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on in this book? How are we supposed to feel about any of these characters aside from Kaya? It's so confusing, but in a good suspenseful way, I think, because it keeps me reading just to figure out who's who and who's good and who's bad and what the heck is going on. So I'm still really enjoying Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Like I said last week, this is a book for book club at work that I lead, or try to lead, and so I've been wanting to read this book for a long time, so I picked this book for our next book, selfishly. Still making my way through Alias Grace, still trying to figure all that out, the ebook, and still making my way through the Amber Spyglass audiobook, though I'm not finding myself as interested for some reason in this book as I was in the last two books. I find myself getting lost in it and getting distracted easily, having a hard time paying attention to what's actually going on. And all of a sudden I realize, like, Lyra has been kidnapped by Mrs. Coulter, who's her mom, and Will, the character that we met in the book 2, is trying to save her, and I didn't remember her being kidnapped at the end of the second book. So it was like, I'm like several chapters in this audiobook now, and I've been reading it for, as you know, about a week, maybe a little less than that, and all of a sudden I was just like, oh, whoa, this happened without me even knowing it, realizing it, and like it's been the main point of this book the whole time, and for some reason I only just now like dawned on me that this has actually happened. But anyways, that's my check-in on these books for today. Hopefully I'll have more to check in tomorrow. Look for more videos later today, and this week I'm gonna work on doing more videos instead of just the one check-in. I'm coming up with lots of new ideas, so I will check in with you all tomorrow. Have a great Monday. Bye. Hey y'all, happy Tuesday, October 13th. First I gotta give a big shout out to my niece Cora, who turns 10 today. Oh, 10. I remember when she was just a little baby girl. Can't believe she's 10. If she would call it double digits. My eyes are really red today. Allergies are kicking my butt. When you're allergic to dust, mold, and pollen, you get it all the time. Anyways, today's reading quote actually comes from the play Death of a Salesman book. I think it was a play. By Arthur Miller, and I read this, well, I've read it several times in school and whatnot, but then I went back and read it in 2017 as part of I have a giant book of all of his, I think it was 8 of his plays, and the quote says, "He is choking with his love," and if you've ever loved someone so much it hurt, you know exactly what this means. No explanation needed. That quote was spot on for a lot of things. But anyways, on with my reading check-in. So working through all of the same, hoping, like I said, I'm hoping to get done with at least one by the end of this week. Otherwise it'd be a really boring reading vlog check-in week. But still working through the same things. Bleak House, Where the Crawdads Sing. We're now at the point where she's making an actual friendship with Tate, and I love that chapter on her learning to read. I'm obsessed with reading about people learning to read. I just love it so much, because to see the joy of reading, someone learning the joy of reading for the first time, it never gets old for me. So I love that chapter. Sometimes a Great Notion and Alias Grace, these are two books that are in a weird spot for me because I want to keep reading them. I don't want to DNF them, but I'm not sure where exactly the story is. Like, Alias Grace, we're given the main character in the title, and sometimes a Great Notion, we're giving supposedly the main characters in the description of the book, but the way they're written, you're not sure what the story actually is or where it lies, who you're supposed to focus on. So it's interesting. I'll be interested to see where these stories go. Yesterday I said that there was not really any chapters in Sometimes a Great Notion, but when I was reading last night, I discovered there actually are chapters. They're just a little bit longer than what I'm used to, so I might change up my reading style of this book a little bit to get it through more quickly. And then also, still going through the audiobook of The Amber Spyglass. I'm not enjoying this one as much as the others, but still enjoying it. So it might just be my attention problem. I have a lot going on right now with school and work and everything, and so my attention span is divided more than it usually is when I'm reading. So that's probably the problem, and not so much with the book, but we'll see where that goes, and I will check in with you guys again tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday. Bye. Hello everyone, it is Wednesday, October 14th, and today's video will be very quick because it's a busy day and I don't have much to update on, but I did write down a couple notes about what I've read since my last video yesterday. But first, let's do our reading quote from my reading history, because everyone is interested in what I've written down as quotes from years and years and years ago. So this quote comes from 2013, again, 7 years ago. The book Discovering You, and the quote says, "His anger is simply a mask to hide his pain." And everyone knows someone that's like that. They use one emotion to hide another, and usually it's something to hide pain, whether it's anger or humor or transferring onto someone else. I think it's human for at some point or another in your life to hide your pain with another thing. So that's why that quote stood out to me back in 2013. Now onto our current reads. So in making my way through Bleak House, I think I'm probably about halfway maybe. And as of now, I am really worried about one of our main characters who has suddenly become ill with a very high fever that others around her had, which therefore can mean that she could put other main characters in danger also. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So sad for Kaya, who has now had someone else, Tate, I hate you Tate, but I love you too, left her for college, which is unreasonable to leave. But everyone leaves Kaya, and so it was so sad. And she waits for him when he says he'll be back, and then he doesn't come. And I just want to hug her. Sometimes a Great Notion by Kesey. I'm so confused with this book. Like, what the heck is going on? Who is talking? It doesn't give you clear narratives on who's talking and when they're talking. So I'm really thoroughly confused by this book, but also strangely intrigued to keep reading to see A, if it gets any clearer, B, what the heck happens in this book. So very confused, but still intrigued to keep reading, so I'll check in again about that. Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. I am, just like Dr. Jordan, making good progress in this book, and I'm hoping that maybe I can finish it by the end of this week, or maybe Sunday or Monday of next week at the latest, but hopefully I'll be able to finish this by the time I post this video on Saturday. And then The Amber Spyglass. I'm suddenly become interested in this book again. As you know from previous days check-ins, I was like, my interest was waning in this book, my attention was distracted, but now all of a sudden I've become re-interested in this book. Thankfully I kept reading it, or listening to it since this is the audiobook, so we'll see how that goes along. And that's my check-in for today. Maybe I'll do another short video later. Probably not until tomorrow though, because I have a lot of stuff to do for school, because I have class tonight. But anyways, that's my check-in for today, Wednesday, October 14th, and we'll check in again on Thursday. See y'all later. Bye. Hey y'all, it's Kate, and I'm checking in on Thursday, October 15th. I didn't get a lot of reading done yesterday because I had school and work and everything was just a little busy yesterday. But I did want to check in with our reading quote of today from 2013, again from Discovering You. This quote says, "Life apparently did not always keep its promises," which we all know that happens all the time. Still reading Bleak House, where the crawdads sing Alias, Grace, Amber, Spyglass. I have decided to DNF for now. Maybe I'll come back to it later, but I don't know. Sometimes a Great Notion by Kesey. The writing was just too all over the place. I couldn't keep track of who was talking, when we were, where we were. It was just too all over the place. So maybe I'll come back to it when I have a different mindset, but DNF'd for now. And because of that, I'll be starting tonight on Plain Bad Heroines. I'm really excited to start this book. You've seen me talk about this in other videos. And this is part of my October DNF, so I'm really excited for this. And that's my check-in for today. Really short today. Not much to update on. I'll check in again on Friday. Bye.
Hey, holy cow. Hey, y'all. Happy Friday, October 16th. We made it to another Friday, so that's a good thing. I'm so tired today. This week has been kicking my butt. I haven't gotten as much reading done as I would have liked to, but I still got a good bit done. And I am hoping and thinking maybe I'll be able to finish at least 1 or 2 books by the time I post this tomorrow on Saturday. So we'll see how that goes. Now, today's reading quote, there's a bit of an explanation behind it first. So back in 2016, I went through this nonfiction history reading phase where I had all of these ginormous history books for whatever reason. And so I decided, instead of buying new books and spending money, I was going to read these history books that I had and learn something. And I still go, most of the reading that I do currently is books that I have in my library that I haven't read yet, which is why there are a lot of older titles and not newer titles. I don't have a lot of money, so I can't buy a lot of new books, and the new books in the library are often taken when I want to read them. So I've been making my way through the hundreds of books in my personal library that I haven't read yet. So that's the explanation for those older random titles. And so the reading quote comes from a book called Europe Since 1815. Like I said, it's a history book, obviously about Europe from 1815 to the current present, whenever this book was published. I don't remember. I think the 80s, maybe earlier. I don't remember. But anyways, it's a long quote. Excuse me, let me get a drink first. There we go, better. It's a long quote, but it's really interesting and telling of the subject, which you'll know right straight off. So the quote says, at about the same time, Hitler created a private army called the Sturmbannführer. Sorry, I know I totally butchered that. I'm sorry. Also known as the Stormtroopers, or SA. A body of brown-shirted thugs who were used to protect the Fuhrer at his own meetings, and then, as their numbers and discipline grew, to prevent, and these are Hitler's own words, quote, all meetings or lectures that are likely to distract the minds of our fellow countrymen, end quote. And so that's really telling of, we all know how much of a dictator Hitler wanted to be and did become, really, in Nazi Germany. And if anyone is, for all you in the U.S. right now, watching what's going on in the U.S., or watching what's going on in the U.S., you see this starting to take place with, quote, President Trump. I try to keep politics out of this, but this quote is so telling of the U.S. today that I couldn't not make that connection. So that's our reading quote today from Europe Since 1815. It was a really interesting history book, but really old. So yeah, good luck finding that if you want it. I probably have much more quotes from that book if you want to know more. Now on to our current reading. So I'm currently making my way again through Bleak House by Charles Dickens, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This book I am so much loving. I love it so much. Usually when it's a celebrity book club book or even a New York Times bestseller, I don't often like them as much as other people do, but this one I am absolutely loving. The writing is just beautiful. I love how she brings in nature just seamlessly into the story, and my heart breaks for Kaya so much. Girl, we've all been there. We've all had our heart broken by guys. Family is heartbreaking, but I can totally relate. So I appreciate that the author was Delia Owens just went there with the heartbreak. Making my way through Alias Grace. I think this is one of the books that I'm hoping to maybe finish tomorrow or Sunday. Tonight is game night at our home, so probably not tonight, but maybe tomorrow morning before I post this, or Sunday. Definitely by the end of this weekend, I think. I'm less than 100 pages, or about 100 pages to the end. Same with the Amber Spyglass audiobook by Pullman. I am so close to being done with that. Again, hoping to be done by the time I post this tomorrow, but maybe Sunday, depending on how this tonight goes and tomorrow goes. And last night I started Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth, which I'm loving so far. I love the sarcasm. I love the book. I love how it looks. I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow when I have the actual book with me. I'm in the office right now, so I don't have the book with me. But I will have more on Plain Bad Heroines tomorrow. And that's it for today. Have a great Friday, a great weekend, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye. Hey y'all, I forgot to mention I got a book last night from the library that I'm so excited to read. I can't wait. I'm going to start reading it after I finish Where the Crawdads Sing. And that is Mistborn, the first book by Brandon Sanderson. I've heard so many people talk about this author and this series. Murphy Napier and Elliot Brooks mostly, but a lot of people here on BookTube love him. And so I thought I would jump in, and someone in one of the chats recommended I start with the Mistborn trilogy, and I can't wait. So after I'm done with Where the Crawdads Sing, I'm going to jump into that. But I just had to share that that is waiting for me at home when I'm finished with Where the Crawdads Sing. So exciting. Anyways, now have a great weekend. We'll see you all tomorrow on Saturday. Bye. Hey guys, I'm checking in again because it's absolutely boring. And I think I'm the only one in this entire building here at work. So I'm sitting here reading Where the Crawdads Sing, and oh my god, my heart is breaking for Kaya so much. I just want to cry for her and hug her like I have the whole book, but especially now. She is going through so much and alone, and I just want to be there for that girl. Poor Kaya, she's gone through so much, and now she's going through even more, and it's just so heartbreaking. And so I'm going to read a sentence from the book, and I'll warn you all that it's a little bit spoilerish, because it's from the middle near the endish of the book. So if you don't want to know anything about what happens in the book, then skip this part of the video. But this is just one sentence that just basically ripped my heart out in heartbreak for Kaya and being able to totally relate to how she feels right now. So it says, she knew it wasn't chase she mourned, but a life defined by rejections. And that's just a completely heartbreaking but beautiful sentence. And I love it, and it makes me want to cry. I get goosebumps, and I can feel the tears building up in my eyes, so I'm going to sign out really soon. But I just had to share that with you all because it is an amazing sentence. And kudos to Delia Owens. Her writing is so beautiful. I can't wait to read more of her books if there are more. I don't even know. But yeah, anyways, I just had to share that with y'all, and I'm gonna go read more and cry more because I love Kaya and my heart breaks for her. See y'all later. Hey y'all, it's Kate and I'm checking in on Saturday, October 17th. Happy weekend, happy Saturday. Very quickly running through this because I have to go to my niece's 10th birthday party today. Yay, happy birthday Cora again. So today's reading quote comes from The Catcher in the Rye classic. And this quote I marked down on 2013, although I've read it several times. So this particular quote was read in 2013. And it's, "You never saw so many mean guys in your life." And that just encapsulates the character of Holden Caulfield and how he talks and everything. And I just love it because I love Catcher in the Rye for some reason still. But let's get to her reading so I can quickly put this up before I have to scoot out. So again, slowly making my way through Bleak House by Charles Dickens. It's waning on me. I don't know. It seems like there's 2 or 3 stories going on at once in this book, and it could have been broken into several books instead of being this ginormous book that it is. But I am equally intrigued in all of the stories, which is why I'm continuing to read it. Plus, Charles Dickens' characters are so fabulous and fascinating. I just love them. So that's why I'm still reading Bleak House, even though it's waning on me. I'm pushing through. Hopefully, maybe I'll finish it sometime this coming week. Hopefully by the end of October at least, who knows. It's so long, it's like 800 some pages, so it's taking me a while. And this month, this semester, this year really has just been kicking my butt. But anyways, that's my update on Bleak House. As you know, I've started reading Clean Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. And so far, I'm very early into this book, but so far I am absolutely loving this book. Something totally different than what I've read before, gothic horror. But I love the narrator. She's so sarcastic and so honest, and it's kind of like an omniscient narrator, but this narrator is great. And this book is so beautiful. I love the wrapping. This is an art copy in Advanced Reader's Edition. So I'm not sure how the final copy looks. That comes out this coming week on, I think, Tuesday it's supposed to be released. But it came with this little insert about Mary McCarthy, I think it was? Mary McLean. And that's just a fabulous little story. I don't even know if it's true or not. I haven't looked into that, but that's like the basis of the book, where the book comes from. And it has these like fantastic drawings throughout. And I'm just so fascinated by it. Like, it's such a cool book. I recommend it already to everyone. Like, look at this drawing. Such detail. It's amazing. So that's Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth, and I absolutely love it so far. Illustrations by Sarah Lotman. Fabulous. Excellent. Pick it up if you want a good gothic horror spooky read. I'm already recommending it 2 chapters in, so there's that. Still making my way through the ebook of Alias Grace. I think I'll be done with that this weekend, maybe Monday at the latest, so look for more check-ins about that. And as you all know, I finished reading Where the Crawdads, well, I guess you don't know yet, but I finished reading Where the Crawdads Sing last night. I stayed up late reading it. I drank coffee so I could stay awake because it was that good. I read it all day yesterday at work, and I was just so sucked in I couldn't put it down. Definitely 5 stars. I will link the review in this video because I did a very quick spoiler-free review. And let me know if you want me to do a spoilerish review because I
would love to do more about Where the Crawdads Sing. I loved it so much. It was so good. So because I finished that book yesterday, tonight I'll be starting on my very first Brandon Sanderson book. Mistborn is what I was told that would be a good place to start. I've seen so many people on BookTube talk about Brandon Sanderson, and two of my favorite booktubers, Murphy and Elliot Brooks, both absolutely love Brandon Sanderson, so I thought I would take a shot at reading some of his books. I want to read more fantasy anyway, so I thought this was a good end to that genre and that author. So tonight I'll be starting Mistborn, the first book in the Final Empire trilogy, I think. I don't know what it is. I really don't know anything about it. Let's see. Can I get Mistborn, the Final Empire? But it's the Mistborn saga, the original trilogy, and then there's another part, the Wax and Wane series after that. So I'm diving into this tonight. I can't wait after I get back from Cora's birthday party. Happy birthday again, Cora. And lastly, I'm going to add the Amber Spyglass to my finished pile, even though technically I haven't finished it yet. I plan on finishing the audiobook later today. So I'm going to add that to my finished, which makes I think it was 2 books finished, 1 book DNF'd, and it'll be tonight 2 books started also. Yeah, 2 books. So 2 books finished, 2 books started, and 1 DNF'd. So this, as you know, this week was a slow reading week for me because I was just exhausted, beat up. But I plan on making my weekends my BookTube weekends, and so I'll do lots more reading and lots more videos on Saturdays and Sundays for the rest of this month, and maybe into November. We'll see how it goes. But that is it for now, and happy weekend everyone, and look for more videos from me very, very soon. Oh, and I wanted to give a shout out to all of our subscribers. So far we have, let me check, as of right now, 27 subscribers. I love you all. Tell all your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, like this. If you've read any of these books, comment and let me know what you thought. I can't wait to talk about it with you all, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Happy weekend, happy reading, bye.